about this.
Are you fucking hell? You either really or not. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're always gonna be a
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh, God. Coming to you live from the luscious loins of LaPel, Indiana. It's Shipwreck Shep hanging out always with our beautiful fucking co-host tonight, Bob. Say hi, Bob. Hi, Bob. And tonight we have none other than the motherfucking Foleys in the fucking house. What's up, y'all? We got Manny. We got Professor Payne.
What's up, Shep?
Hell yeah, guys. So 2 hour plus drive. Fucking winter storm coming in. Hell yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys made the fucking haul.
Thanks for having us. We like to keep it crazy. We do crazy shit.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know there was a storm coming in, but about an hour or so ago, I fucking drove down the street to get smokes and a fucking Mountain Dew. And the wind was just gnarly as fuck. I was like, God dang. And when you guys got here, I was like, you guys mentioned fucking snow. So
yeah, we're supposed to get hammered up there. So
yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. LaPel's not close enough to get some of that storm.
Yeah,
huh?
we get all that gnarly lake effect stuff. You guys are like the plains of Indiana.
Yeah, there's nothing going on down here. There's some corn. You got corn, but I grew up in northern Ohio, so I feel like a pain.
Yeah, you know what's up.
Yeah, it was like 30 or 45 minutes south of Cleveland. So
okay,
yeah, I mean, yeah. So the Foleys, yeah, it's Ohio, right? Yeah, it's fucking Ohio. I mean, we're kind of in Ohio still. I mean, hell,
you had Ohio State. We have Notre Dame.
All right, yeah,
rivalry. At least it's not Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's not Michigan. Every once in a while I'll see like a cool pair of shoes and it'll be in like yellow and blue and I'll be like, I just can't do it, dude. Can't do it. Jackets. Somebody I can't remember who it was, but somebody gave me this awesome Nike jacket and it was blue with yellow accents and I was like, yeah. And I ended up like just giving it to somebody that didn't, care. It runs that deep. It is kind of like that. So
no, we're in a divided town.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're either Michigan or Notre Dame, but I think we're all IU right now, right? That's what we're supposed to be. Since we're Hoosiers, we're all for IU.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
because like there's this whole like red and white versus black and gold. Like, because Purdue's in Indiana too, Boilermakers. So, yeah, there's all that shit.
They don't really count.
Nah, fuck them. So, all right, Foleys. When did you guys start, and how did that name came about?
We started the summer of 2021.
2021,
and we were all sitting around and we're like, we don't want to do anything too serious, right? Like, we've all been in like super serious, like, oi bands and street punk bands and all this other shit, and we're just like, we want to have fun. So we're kicking around the idea of like, all right, what's the best gimmick we can come up with? And then everybody was just like, we all watch pro wrestling.
Hell yeah.
And there it was. So we had like a list of like all these names and like moves, and it's like, what in the fuck are we gonna call this thing? And we realized we're all Mick Foley fans, because how could you not be?
Right.
And it was just that easy.
We were man. So oh yeah, I was gonna say the Foleys. When I first heard you guys, I was like, man, that's so cool. Because I used to do of this wrestling thing. And you know, you guys have done it.
Yeah.
Fucking, and we just don't have that many wrestling themed bands, you know?
No, we've been looking for other wrestling themed bands to collaborate with and everything, and it's like early on Belushi Speedball before they blew up, like they hit us up and we were like kind of talking about like, we should do something, but we didn't have anything recorded. And then there was another ladder match, and then the guys from Toledo, they're in that Oi band.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't
Sam
remember the
and
name.
his guys. I can't remember the name of the band offhand. But yeah, it's a rare gimmick.
Yeah.
It's very niche. And that's the way that we like it. We kind of like it being niche because, I mean, you don't want it oversaturated, right? You want a little bit of everything. You know, it's like going to a show and you see 4 bands that are playing the exact same thing, right? The exact same style. Get kind of bored about 2 bands in. You're starting to go outside, have a smoke, or you know it. You know, you're like, oh, should I go back in? But we feel that, you know, by us being able to put our own spin on things, that we liven up the show, right? If for nothing else, maybe some comedic relief, right?
Hell yeah.
We try to be high action. We try to be crowd pleasers. You will never find
the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. You will never find me just hanging out on the stage. Group and crowd participation is a must.
Hell yeah.
And so I am constantly running out in the crowd, running wherever I need to run, corralling whoever I need to corral to have them come and be one cohesive whole so that we can have one hell of a night.
Hell yeah. And that's definitely like the last time I saw you guys play, you are all about it. You are in people's faces. You are rocking. You're getting the mosh pit going. Hell yeah. So for people that haven't seen you live, how would you describe your sound to them? Like what, like in comparison?
We're kind of like rock and roll if it was simplified a little bit, but aggressive still.
Yeah.
Like we run through the gamut of music. I mean, like we have like almost like this I don't know, like kind of bluesy song, and then like everything else is just kind of like some of it's mid-tempo, some of it we pick it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you know, to fit the seasonal theme, we're like a cornucopia, right? We have a lot of different genres packed in. It's very apparent when you listen to our set list. You'd be like, hey, there's a fast one, sounds really punky. Hey, that one sounds kind of rocky or grungy. Hey, that one may sound metal or something like that. And we have blues. And like I said, we try to be multi-directional because once again, we want to try to please everybody, right? And we know that when people go to shows, once again, they don't want to hear the same thing, maybe not even by the same band. How many times have you went to a show and you're like, hey, those guys are awesome, but all their songs kind of sound the same, you know, whether it's genre or in tempo. Instead, we like to kind of mix it up. So yeah, I mean, to define us, ooh, that's a hard
I think
one.
we're just like a wrestling show for your ears.
Right.
Hell
So you
yeah.
get all the highlights, you know, you got like Cody Rhodes coming out and you're like hype.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, AJ Styles comes out and you're just like, I'm fucking bored.
Yeah.
And then it ends with like something crazy like the Bloodline, and here we are. So that's the kind of energy we try to bring.
There's a AEW event going on tonight too.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are watching that. If you're out there watching that, are you part of the 2 people that watch it a week?
Is it really that low?
The numbers have been like super
viewership
low. I
is
feel
plummeting.
bad for
So
them.
Nick and Cameron got it. Actually, Cameron, he occasionally co-hosts. He's actually at that event tonight.
Oh, is he?
Nice.
Yeah. He sent me some photos. I should have saved them. And
So Dynamite tonight. I try to watch. You know, I try
I
to
don't
watch when
I
I
don't
can.
watch
It's
AEW.
just- It's hard to get through. I've tried. Like phenomenal wrestling, really fun to watch. For the acrobatics and like a lot of the wrestling, and like John Moxley's there doing cool shit, but man, the story writing and the crowd size, like it's hard to get in when you can almost hear the wrestlers like tell each other what they're gonna do next.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. So Moxley, like when he switched over, I was like, what the fuck? But now he's over there. He's like doing more of the stuff that he likes to do. So
Yeah, I mean one of the last matches, and this is probably a year ago, that I really seriously watched AEW was their Blood and Guts match with Moxley and his crew at the time, and it was awesome watching him stick a fork in another motherfucker's head.
Yeah. I mean,
Like that's what I'm about. That was cool.
oh yeah. So what is your guys' writing process like as a band?
One of us, either Jackie or myself, will bring a guitar riff in. And then we just kind of build it out. Like we'll have like some loose bones to the song, and then everybody participates. I mean, we bring it in the practice room and tear it apart, put it back together.
So it's totally collaborative.
Totally collaborative. Yeah. And once we have sort of a feeling for the music, then we kind of sit there and say, okay, what do we feel this represents? Right. And so that gives me an idea when it's time to figure out vocal patterns and lyrics, try to figure out where we're going with that. And some things work and some things end up on the jam room floor. But then we end up finding kind of that happy middle place where we're like, hey, the lyrics match the music really well. The music accompanies the vocals, and we just kind of run with it. So,
How much of the stuff that comes in ends up on the floor? Did you say?
I'd say maybe 25% ends up on the floor.
Yeah, I was going to say 25-30%. Yeah. And even that, it might be on the floor, but we kind of sweep it up and then we put it on the table and then it just sits there for a rainy day because you never know when inspiration.
That was my next question is like, how often do you bring them back and test them out again?
Oh yeah. There's always stuff like what if Professor Payne has like some lyric ideas and it doesn't quite fit the music yet. Within the next couple of weeks, we've got something else.
Yep.
And so you guys, you do have music online. So
yep.
For those watching, you can check out their music on Spotify, iTunes, probably the whole shebang, right?
Yeah. We're everywhere. Stream on Apple Music.
Yep.
They pay us the most.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Nice. That's what I use.
Spotify ripped us off, man. We had like over 150,000 plays and made like $40. And it's just like, man, this is trash. The state of music sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and it's not even about getting paid. It's just, you invest so much time and effort in. You want to at least like recoup a little bit of the studio fees and
go ahead.
It's not worth, Spotify isn't worth it.
It's a big thing, right?
Yep.
It's talked about a lot. Where do you guys record?
So actually, we record with me, for the most part. So I have my own little company thing going on, Rec Tooligan. Been recording for a lot of years, took a break, but we started the Foleys, started recording again.
That's the way to do it. I mean, honestly, like it nowadays it's just like this thing, you know what I mean? Like this thing, I recorded some music over the weekend on it and I was like, man, sounds just as good as, any recording studio you can go into.
Yeah.
It's just the mastering. That's, of course, I would never, ever want to mix and master my own shit. I feel like it would never get done.
That's where we ran into problems on that first album. It's like I had to mix and master all of it. And now looking back, it's like, man, like I've listened to it on different speakers and different venues. It sounds good, but at the same time, it's just like we pick it apart because.
Yep, exactly. And not only that, but sometimes you're just too close to the source material. And when you're too close to the source material, you'll listen to it. And like Manny said, you'll pick it apart. And, if you were to send it out to someone who has an objective ear, they can be like, hey, I'm not, I'm more far removed from it. Maybe I would do this or do that. And on the plus side of that too, if they fuck something up, you can bitch at them and not feel bad at it that you're bitching at one of your bandmates.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Do you do the car thing? Do you go out to the car and listen to it?
Yeah, and actually I invested in those Steven Slate VSX headphones recently, and they have car settings on it. Which so I just did a Masagusa's latest album. They're some young kids based out of Northwest Indiana. Their new album Breaking Point is coming out in a couple weeks, but I recorded all that. But like,
go check them out for sure.
Hell yeah!
I was doing the car test, but it was like on these headphones. It's Slate Digital created. It was like, well, shit, I'm basically sitting in a car now. So I didn't have to keep running back out. But on the Foleys album, it was just like every time I'd have to take a drive, like copy files over to my phone. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go out for a half hour and listen to this.
Like back in the day when I would like record the stuff and I would do it on actually it's back here somewhere, some ancient alien fucking machine, and I would have to burn a CD.
Oh yeah.
And then I would
Oh yeah.
imagine like how many times I burned a CD and then drove around and listened to it and then come back and do it again. And you can find that music at myspace.com/John Shepler. It's probably not there.
MySpace was such a beautiful place.
Wasn't
Oh,
it?
I miss it.
We were all friends. We could have songs in our profile.
Yeah.
It wasn't all about the advertising dollars.
I miss Tom.
I miss Tom too. We mistreated Tom.
Yeah, I agree. We all did, especially you guys. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yeah, we totally did.
I used to love like how you could change the people.
Yeah, your
I would always
top
just
8.
Yeah, I would always put like the bands that I was playing with all the time
Yeah,
up there. That's what I would do. I think it's if it's still there, you can probably see it. But man, that was so fucking long ago.
oh, it was.
But what would you say like the so I'm really, I guess I'm just fishing. I always feel like the hardest part about recording and then like mastering it is the lower end. That is, I've always like, God damn.
I've experimented with so many different microphones, especially on the low end, like kick drum. I just started experimenting with boundary mics. It's like, because I heard that was a really good way to capture some low end from inside the kick drum, but it was just a garbled mess. I just couldn't control it. So I was like, fucking, I'm pulling it out. It just didn't work. But trying to get that space there too, like for your bass guitar to sit just in the mix just right, and like having to cut out a lot of transients. And
yeah, we don't want to pull an And Justice for All.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we like people to actually hear our bass.
Yeah.
Right. I can't tell you how many oh my God. I mean, it is what it is. I can't tell you how many like bands have put out albums. Because at one point I was like voting for like best new awards and stuff like that or whatever. And I would like listen to these albums and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like no low end at all.
Can't hear the kick.
Right.
Barely hear the bass.
Yep.
The snare doesn't cut through all the way, or it cuts through
Too much.
too much.
Yeah.
But I think that's something like every DIY artist that like records on it. I think that's what everybody struggles with. It's like getting the drum mix for one.
Yeah.
To get that perfect, and then to get everything to sit in the puzzle correctly. It's not easy.
Yeah. That's why I'm just like, I'd rather not. I'd rather not even do any of it. I don't mind recording it, but I don't want to mix it. I don't want to, at least if it's my shit, you know what I mean? I don't want to mix it. I don't want to fucking do all this work.
So
I'd rather just pay somebody.
Like 12 years ago when I first got into it, like, you'd get the hacked pack of Waves plugins and like really start screwing around with stuff and like trying to dial stuff in. But like now it's just like moved on to like isotopes, like Ozone products and Nectar and all that fun stuff. So like they actually have some pretty intuitive tools now to help you tame transients and create space in the mix that's easier to visualize.
So before I forget, I want to do the gift of VHS. If anybody out there wants to donate VHS to the cause for chopped liver, it's getting dramatically low again. I just like, I don't know. I try to go to like Goodwill and stuff. They're like $1 a piece or whatever, but
Yeah.
I spent like $200 on VHS back in September, I think. It was August, something. And I'm getting low, but I grabbed these for you guys. All right. So Manny, I grabbed Eye for an Eye. Eye for an Eye. I was hoping I had some. Oh well, I'll get it there.
Yeah, we'll get it.
I don't want to throw it. I've thrown them before, and sometimes it just doesn't go very well. And then Professor Payne, I grabbed you True Crime.
All right.
Hell yeah! And these, one's open. This one's unopened, but it's previewed, so I don't know if it counts.
But
But
it's funny you're giving us VHSs. Our original drummer, the guy we first started with, was like the VHS connoisseur. This guy had like everything on VHS. It was great.
hell yeah!
Every year he would go to a convention down in Indy. There, I guess there's some big convention down there, some like horror movie VHS convention.
Probably a Black Circle. I think I know what you're talking about.
And
yeah.
he would go there and spend all of his lunch money on it and come back and he would have armloads of it. Look what I got. I got this. I got that. Look, this one has a special edition cover on it that's different than this one. And it's like, cool, dude.
Oh yeah. I have speaking of being a dork, I have somewhere back here. Can you even see it? Yeah, right there is a numbered copy of the Army of Darkness.
Nice.
Yeah, like 36,000 of them. I got one of them. I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's
Yeah,
a good one to have.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hell to the king. Oh man, that's God. But I kind of geek out with that stuff so a little bit. But I give them all away. Just a few that I just cannot get rid of.
Yeah, for sure.
I used to have a huge VHS collection, and I'm just giving them all away. So I have a ton of DVDs. I might just haul them down here and just start doing that. That way I can give away like better themed, because like I bet I do have some awesome wrestling. I know I have some awesome wrestling DVDs I could have put you guys up with. But let's see here. We were talking about the how Spotify is pretty much jank.
Yeah.
Would you say that is probably the biggest issue we have in the music industry right now? And how would you say it affects how you guys do things?
I think the biggest issue in the music industry is just like being able to develop a fan base in younger kids, because they don't listen to music like we did when we were growing up. It's different. I mean, they have like, it's a completely different genres that they're into, and it's not like they're not learning how to play instruments, so there's not that interest in bands that play instruments. It's all, like hip hop and so, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like trying to connect on that level with a younger fan base to get them into it. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, at least that we're facing.
Yeah, no, I think Manny's right there. It's been smaller shows that we end up either throwing or being a part of up north. It's kind of like feast or famine, right? It's like we'll hit a vein where there's a really good crowd, and then we'll hit a drought where it's 3, 4, 5 shows where it's like, wow, where are all the kids at, right? And when I look at it, and I've been doing music for let's just say a long time, a few decades, and it seems like the kids nowadays, they have so many distractions, right? It's actually there's a term for it. It's called hypermediacy, right? So they're being bombarded by all of this stimuli, right? And they're like, hey, I can watch YouTube, I can listen to Spotify, I can do all these different things, and so they get lost in all of that. Whereas when previous generations didn't have any of that, they went out to the shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went out and they supported the DIY crowd, right? So that's actually one of the things that we're trying to do up north. We actually collaborated, and we have our own venue up north. And it's totally 100% DIY. And once again, it's feast or famine, but it's a passion project, right? Because we're trying to revitalize at least our local community as far as, hey, come out to a show. Hey, we're an all ages venue. So it just isn't a bar where you go and get drunk and the kids aren't welcome or something like that. Instead, we're trying to introduce that younger generation into being able to say, we don't expect you to buy our records or anything like that, but show up to a show. Bring some friends, see if it's a good time, meet some people here. I can't tell you how many times when we were younger, we've met lifelong friends. We've met wives and ex-wives at shows, right?
Right.
Nowadays, that's kind of all pulled out of the mix now.
That's actually how I met Professor Payne. I mean, I was in high school and we were at like this metal show, and the promoter was having a pretty much like a King of the Ring style mosh pit contest. It was just like a big square on the floor, and if you got knocked out, you're out. And like, I was reffing for it, and here comes Professor Payne, just like people like 5 or 6 people like dragging him out.
I was younger and bigger back then, but yes.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, and it forged a friendship that's lasted, over a couple of decades, and I think that the youth of today, they're missing that, right? And So we try to do our part, and we hope that other, communities try to do that as well. I definitely think that's something that we need to bring back. We need to bring back that grassroots kind of feeling of, everything doesn't have to be sanitized and online. It can be gritty and live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long have you guys been? So you said you have a venue up north that you're doing. How long have you been doing that?
So
It's about a year and a half.
it'll be 2 years in January.
Nice.
2 years, January 30th.
And what is it? What is it called?
It's called the Michiana Education and Arts Club, or MEEC for short.
Nice. Michiana. Is that a county?
No, it's actually anywhere on the border of Indiana and Michigan, as far east as the Ohio border and as far west as the Illinois border. That's all Michiana.
Okay.
That's just those northern Indiana counties, southern Michigan counties.
Yep.
Nice.
It's wherever the TV stations hit.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys mostly do like all age shows or just period?
Yeah, we do all ages shows. We're actually a 501c7 social club. So there you can apply for membership. We have shows there. We also do multicam streaming of our shows.
Nice.
We do viewing parties for movies. Sometimes we just kick back, like we watched that abomination that was the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, right?
Yeah.
Had members come in and watch it. So it's basically, once again, trying to get that sense of what I would call analog community, right? Because everybody's got digital community right now. They go on social media and they're sitting there and, I could talk to this person or that person. I would rather sit there and talk to that person,
Yeah.
Not just typing. And even, I think we've gotten to a point now where it's a little bit more disembodied than what it should be. And so once again, we're just trying to bring that back. And I think every venue, every bar, every club who is currently surviving post COVID, they should be commended, right? Because they are keeping that torch lit for not only the future generations, but for the ones who have also made it through the pandemic, right? There are a lot of bands that we know of, a lot of clubs that we know of, and I'm sure you do as well, that COVID-19 took away.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, a lot of small places closed up. There's a lot of big theaters. I just heard that the State Theater up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, closed its doors after like 106 years.
Damn.
Oh yeah. And it was a landmark. And why? Because, people weren't really going anymore, because having a live experience post pandemic, there seems to be a disconnect there, because we went through, a few years. And so you figure that's almost like half of a generation of a whole population who was used to just digital and not analog. So,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, even the venues that are still kicking it down here, a lot of them are losing money.
Sure.
And they're like struggling. And it's not just like the economy, it's also the fact that a lot of people just don't go to smaller shows, smaller venues. Instead, a lot of people are spending their money going to like Live Nation events or whatnot.
Riot Fest or any of the big ones, which is great that they are, because they're helping to support that, and that's awesome. But everybody needs to remember that every big band was at one time a little band playing in a little club and had that little following. And the way that they were able to get bigger is through the support of those people in that community.
Well, I think that's another part of the problem, right? So the smaller clubs, they're no longer catering to original live music.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking cover band.
Right.
Because
tribute.
Yeah.
Because, the 30 and 40 somethings, they don't care about original music anymore. They just want to hear their radio rock shit. So you have like, I don't know, your cover band playing all the latest and greatest pop hits. That's where the clubs are going to, and that's what brings them money, especially if you serve alcohol.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You can get your mom jeans and your dad bods out there to rock for 2 hours.
Well, and that's one thing to jump off of that, which he's absolutely right, is for musicians too. Would you rather be a musician in an original band playing in front of 10 people and maybe getting a little cut of the door, or be in a cover band or tribute band where you get to headline on a Friday night at a slightly bigger club and end up making, hundreds of dollars playing a set, So from a musician standpoint, I mean, me and Manny and the rest of our band, we're kind of DIY till we die, right? I think it's just something that we grew up with. I mean, we've been in a lot of bands throughout the years, and I think that's been a focal point. That it's been like, I don't know, Manny, how many cover bands have you been in? You ever been in a cover band?
I was almost in one.
Almost in one, but
Uh,
never
Almost
never
in a
pulled
60
that trigger.
seconds quickie, 60-second quickies cover band.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And they became
They become.
Society's Child.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
we abandoned ship before it turned into that.
Then
That
you
was
found me.
right before the Foleys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was this close to being in a cover band.
I did it once. I did a tribute, but it was for, you know,
Tributes are different.
it
Like
was like a, you know, a one-off thing. We ended up doing, I think, 2 more shows just for fun.
Sure.
But you know, the Meld every year they do
yeah.
a Halloween show, and one year I did the an AC/DC tribute, and it was
Nice.
called Big Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, yeah,
But that's different when it's a one-off, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shtick,
yeah,
you know. But when you're grinding it out every week, and you're like, "Hey, we're going from here to Dubuque, playing all these clubs, playing
Right.
someone else's music." I mean, to
Sister
us,
Hazel, Three
Right.
Doors Down. I'm
right,
just kidding.
right,
Got a lot of Nickelback in there. Nickelback and Blink-182.
yeah.
yeah,
That's the go-to.
Buck Cherry. Can't
Yeah.
forget Buck Cherry.
Yeah.
I remember there was a point in time like in the late 2000s or early 2010s, and I found out because it was like my bands would play or we would have a show, and you know there'd be a ton of people there, whatever, and then the next night, same venue, there would be a cover band, and I didn't know the difference. And the thing is, like, when I found out, I was like, hold on here. You're telling me we could sell this place out. Each band is going to make like 100, 150 bucks, right? But if we were a cover band, we can get a guarantee of like 600 or 700 bucks.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I was like,
insane.
what? This ain't right. It blew my mind when I first found out that's the reality of the situation. I was just like, holy fuck, dude. Just play somebody else's music and you'll get paid way more.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Which is the problem.
But the
right?
draw is almost the same. It's not that big of a difference in the draw.
Yeah, I think like up north. I mean,
Well, there is one difference though. Usually with cover bands, more ladies.
I all right, yeah, that's fair.
Now that's not to say that if you were to count heads at an original show, there may be the same amount of people, but with the cover shows, there's usually more women. It's kind of just a different demographic, right? We have a place up north called Mr. G's. It's in a small town called Osceola, which is between us, South Bend, and another town where our club is in Elkhart. And they book cover bands, and it's $1,000 a night. $1,000 a night to play there and play covers. But when they get original bands, the last one of my friends was in an original band that got booked there. I think their guarantee was $175. And they said that they had a decent turnout. But once again, you know, like you were saying, there's something about, you know, the playing covers resonates with non-musicians
Yeah,
and just, you know, normal folk, and they're like, all right, let's go to the bar, get a beer and dance.
yeah.
You know,
And they're probably gonna drink more,
right,
you know?
Yeah.
right.
And, you know, because there's gonna be more dancing because they're playing fucking hey, you're crazy bitch, and like more Bud Light, let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, where you know, yeah, it's clicking in my head now. It's making it's yeah, I got you.
it's all coming together.
Yeah, it's all coming together. What'd you say, Bob? Oh no, yeah, no, I haven't asked that yet. Hold on. So Bob was one. I had to do it. Bob is curious. You said a word earlier, and I want to know. I want to know why. I want to see if it matches up with my reasoning. Abomination. You were talking about the Tyson Jake
Oh Jesus!
fight. So why do you feel like that was an abomination?
I mean, it was
Did you see Tyson not throw that punch?
Right.
Yes. Which one? The one at the very end?
Well, no.
I'm
earlier in
telling
the
you
fight,
right now, dude. I thought for sure when he bowed,
Oh yeah,
he was gonna clock him.
He
Right.
should have. It would have been worth throwing all that money away
All of it.
just to punch a Paul brother in the head and knock him out.
Right. No, absolutely.
I mean, between all the street, like we had 5 or 6 different phones all trying to stream Netflix. We had the club TV going with Netflix, and like everything was terrible.
Yeah.
I felt like an asshole because I had a show at Outhouse Records that night, and after the show, some of us went over to the bar, got some drinks, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, we sat there for like 20, 30 minutes, and I was like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, why can't these people get this fucking show to just stay on and go next door? And we left there because I was like, this is bullshit. I want to watch this fight. And it's the same shit over there. I'm like, what is going on? It ended up, it was actually fucking Netflix.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a collective groan across the world, just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And if that was any sign for what's coming for Monday Night Raw, I mean, like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to start watching AEW because that might be the only thing that actually like comes through correctly.
Are they going to start streaming live on Netflix?
November, January 6th, Raw moves to Netflix.
What?
So, exclusive. So,
well, I mean, I would think by then with all that fucking money that they would be able to get it.
Well, you think
figured
But they're
out.
also getting sued too.
you'd think with all that
Are
money,
they really?
Netflix is getting sued.
Yeah, there's a class action
I think that it's like a
lawsuit going
$20 million class action
over
lawsuit.
the fight.
Pennies.
Yeah,
That's pennies. Yeah, they're good. They'll be just fucking fine. But yeah, they gotta figure that shit out. I figured so for me, the abomination was the fact that they weren't fighting. I mean, I understand like they were fighting, but there were so many points during that match, especially towards like the last quarter of it, where I was like, is this a fix? It felt like a fix by the 7th or 8th round. I felt like it was a fix. Like
no, it had to have been a fixed fight. I mean, if you look at Tyson's body language, he keeps biting his glove.
Yep.
And there was like, there's speculation while he's biting his glove to remind himself that not to throw that punch. Because when he's biting his glove, it was at like really opportune times where he could have thrown a haymaker.
But that's the whole thing, to remind him why. Tyson has more fighter IQ in one of his fingers than Jake Paul has in his whole body.
right.
So why would he have to be reminded? I think it was something along the lines of, everybody says, oh, it's a cash grab. It's a cash grab. A cash grab, I could see that side of it, but I also think that it was kind of a slick marketing ploy to say, hey, we're going to test the waters here, and we're going to see if we do this live streaming celebrity boxing versus, someone who many would say is past his prime. Is there a calling for it, right? Is it marketable? And I think they found out that the answer was, yeah, it was. Even if it was totally fixed, which, I mean, let's admit it was, there were still millions of people who stopped what they were doing that night to watch it and then turn around and collectively bitch about it on Facebook, which even built up more hype. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to play out of this. How is the future of this going to look? We have things where they're saying, oh, there's a sheik from the Middle East who's offering $100 million or something for them to fight again. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it opens up. I heard another one about Butterbean saying, well, I want a piece of Jake Paul now.
Yeah.
If you're fighting old people who are past their prime, I think I have one more fight in me. Right. So, I mean, it's interesting to see from that perspective. It's like, yes, we know it was a fix. Yes, the general population is pissed off about it, but it was still pretty crafty marketing. Because if you think about it, they stretched it out for what? Almost 9 months, because it was supposed to happen in July. And then they're like, oh no, it can't happen then. So then they stretched it out more to build the hype more and more and more. So they're pretty slick. They knew what was going on. They had a plan, and we were the patsies that fell for it, and we'll probably fall for it again.
We will. And I will too.
We will definitely be watching the next one.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're also streaming NFL on Christmas Day.
I agree, David. Exactly. Just like the Mayweather Logan Paul was fixed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a lot of these one-offs that are coming out now is just like, are you kidding me? Can we get back to the sport of boxing, right? And it's one thing if you're a celebrity, but you have a really good boxing camp and you are really training hardcore, then I can kind of see that. But like, for example, to juxtapose a little bit, remember when CM Punk tried MMA?
Oh,
How'd that
Jesus
work out
Christ.
for him, right?
Right.
It was
All this-
awesome. He was the best MMA fighter everywhere,
Oh, I know.
anywhere. He's the best in the world. We don't talk shit about CM Punk.
I think we just did.
Oh wait, shit.
Yeah.
No, that was another travesty of a move. Like, let's go from pro wrestling to MMA.
Right.
What about what's her name that switched over?
Oh, Ronda Rousey.
Rousey, yeah.
You know, I watched her. I was a big UFC fan, like went at the height of UFC, and she was a bad motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And she brought that attitude into pro wrestling, and I think they misused her in some aspects, but they made her a champion and they let her keep her edge, which was awesome. So I think she made the right move. She went from MMA to professional wrestling, or at least we know it's fixed,
Right.
Right.
but at least it's exciting, and we don't know how we're quite going to get to the fix.
Yeah. Most people can't make that ride back. I mean, Brock Lesnar did. I mean, Brock Lesnar in his early days, he was pretty formidable. But then once more of the fighters kind of had his style dialed in, yeah, his days were numbered really quick.
I'm not a fan of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
But that's because they dragged him out for so long. Same thing for fucking Roman Reigns.
I remember
Actually, the reason why I used to watch wrestling like every week. I would just watch. It was my favorite show, and I eventually the writing and just the overabundance of Reigns. I was just like, fuck
yeah,
this,
they rode that horse for a long time. But I was gonna say about Brock Lesnar, the moment I lost respect for Brock Lesnar was the first fight that he fought Cain Velasquez in UFC, the championship fight, and then we learned that Brock Lesnar has no chin.
Oh yeah.
He got rocked like 3 times,
Yep.
like
Yep.
within 30 seconds, and then he just got his ass kicked. Like he couldn't take a punch, and that was the end of his like legacy for me. And then coming back to WWE, I still can't stand the guy. He's just not my favorite. I mean, he's big.
That's the whole thing with crossovers. Crossovers, you kind of want to see that what if, right? I mean, I can remember in the early to mid 2000s, Kimbo Slice, right? We watched him on YouTube. Oh, look at him. He's badass street fighter. I wonder how he would do in the cage, And then Dana White sees, oh, well, I see dollar signs. That's marketable. Let's go ahead and bring the freak show here and let's see what happens, And it's all about what's marketable and how much revenue you can bring in.
But it also showed a bunch of clowns that they could make it in MMA without ever doing legs day.
Right. Oh yeah, because
legs day,
Kimbo had
kids.
no legs. Yeah, for
Legs
sure.
day, squats.
Yeah.
Who do you think the worst of that scenario ever is? Like should not be wrestling.
Man, there's Shayna Baszler, because she was in MMA and she came over into WWE. She's boring as fuck. And I love ladies wrestling. Like, I think they outperform the men in just about everything. Like all the gimmick matches, way better. They take way more risks. But when it comes to her matches, like, I am bored. I just can't get behind it. And she just has this it's like the knockoff like Timu Ronda Rousey. That's just really bad.
I love that it's not what do they used to say? Now it's Timu.
Yeah, it's not Wish anymore. It's
Wish, yeah.
We moved on to Timu.
Yep.
And it's really crossing that border into like TikTok shop.
Right.
What's TikTok shop?
Oh, it's like Timu, but like cheaper.
And more unbelievable. Like they'll be like, hey, we have this flashlight that'll grow your Johnson by 12 inches and cure cancer. And it's only $9.95.
What?
You have to take
yeah.
the She Legit
Do you have
honey.
a link?
Right.
There it is. I always forget I got a soundboard. What about you, Professor Payne?
As far as what crossovers,
or like just wrestlers that are like should not have been wrestling?
wrestlers who shouldn't have wrestled. Well, I mean, first one that comes to mind, wonderful physique, horrible in the ring.
Yeah.
Where's he from? Parts unknown. The Ultimate Warrior. Jesus Christ. I mean,
they saw a bodybuilder on that one, and Vince got like enamored with his
exactly.
physique and just like.
But he could not wrestle if you watch any of the matches, because I'm like I'm like an old schooler, and I grew up with all those matches. I've got a extensive professional wrestling history in my family, and so I was indoctrinated into it at an early age. And so watching, the Ultimate Warrior, it was like, yeah, it was cool. He's shaking the turnbuckle, okay, whatever, shaking the ropes, but watching him wrestle, he was so stiff and he was just so awkward, and there wasn't any fluidity to him. Instead, it was like, you could almost tell that his opponent had to carry him through the match.
Yeah. It's funny because my answer is almost the exact same answer, except it was a different company and it was the same. I mean, almost the exact same thing what you just said. And I didn't know it at the time because I was a kid. And then I got older and I realized, like, looking back, I'm like, what was he doing up there? Fucking Goldberg.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, all same shit.
Sure.
I don't have to say anything.
Nope.
Everything you just said is pretty much exact same story as Goldberg.
He had two moves, right? He had the spear
Yep.
and the jackhammer pile driver.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I loved it when they brought him back to the WWE, and it was like, he looks older, but nothing has changed. He's still like, they're still having to carry him, and he's still basically doing the same shit.
Right.
Like, oh man.
Well, they're building up for a gimmick match now with Goldberg and Gunther.
No way.
And so I think it was at Bad Blood, because I was down in Atlanta. Gunther was out talking shit, and Goldberg just happened to get up into the ring.
No.
And they're kind of building up. So we might see him in his retirement match. And it's, Gunther's a pretty good wrestler, so he's going to end up carrying him all the way through. Or they'll do the nice thing and let Goldberg win one more time.
Yeah. Did he ever get a WWE belt? I can't remember.
I don't remember if he got a WWE belt or not.
Probably didn't.
I think that was during the time period where I kind of stopped watching. It was like right after they acquired WCW. It was just like, okay, the Monday Night Wars are over. It's not quite as exciting.
Oh, man. I was talking to somebody the other day about the writing and stuff. And what's his name? He used to write for the WWE. He's the guy that created the NWO.
Vince.
Always forget.
Vince Russo. That who you're thinking of?
He was at first. He was calling the matches, and then it came out like, and then he's, gosh darn it, pisses me off. Did you guys watch the Mr. McMahon?
Yeah.
The one that was talking about like the match, Raw versus fucking Nitro, and how like he was going up against Ted Turner, and Vince McMahon doesn't want to admit that he had his number. Oh my God, I can't believe I can't think of his name. He's fucking awesome, and he doesn't do anything anymore. He was constantly throughout the guy that wrote most of WCW.
No,
I mean,
I think
he wrote it into the ground too, but
no, that's Vince Russo.
That's his name?
I think so. The dude that says bro all the time?
No.
No?
Now I'm going to Google it. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. Oh, shit. I shouldn't have done that. You're just a boy. Here, we'll take a break and we'll come back to that. It's about time for one anyways. So, yeah, we'll come back here in just a moment and we'll hear a word from our sponsor, The Button Guy. Now's a good time to piss, gentlemen.
Hold on. Just let it run.
Downtown, oh my girl left town, and I got drunk. My best friend drowned, and I got drunk last night. My heart says crime, my mind says murder, my throat says drown, my gut says burger, my mind says why, but I never heard it right. I got a spring in my step, a fall on my face, and the winter won't flip. Real bad taste in the corner of my mouth, 'cause I just can't fight down. But I can't listen to the voice of reason no more, 'cause I just love to see someone's back in town, can't slow down. And I can't help feeling I'm on the run, and you got the wheel and I got the gun, and this car is sealed, and I'm gonna have fun tonight. I got an old blackboard and a black leather jacket, a floorboard for the man named Megan. Hang on, Lord, 'cause I'm gonna wreck it tonight. I'm in a real good boy. Drink water, drink my water. Just because you're not thirsty doesn't mean that you don't need it. Gotta drink water, drink my water. If you sweat it out, you need more electrolytes. Drink water, drink my water right now. Drink water, drink my water. Just because you're not thirsty doesn't mean that you don't need it. Gotta drink water, drink my water. If you sweat it out, you need more electrolytes. Drink water, drink my water right now. Drink water, drink my water. Just because you're not thirsty doesn't mean that you don't need it. Gotta drink water, drink my water. If you sweat it out, you need more electrolytes. Drink water, drink my water right now.
You got this.
Are you fucking hell you? Either hell or not. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're always gonna be a fucking piece of skunk weed.
Wanna hit?
I'm not it.
Are you sure?
Okay, let's quit it.
Close your eyes, Jared.
What do you see?
So you use crack or you're thinking about trying it. Crack. So if you're thinking about using crack.
Do it! Just do it!
Nothing unusual. Get help now.
You know, my favorite type of weed was cocaine. Cocaine.
You son of a biscuit-eating bulldog with the French toast. I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo-head cootie queen. Are you calling a cootie queen, you lit? Oh, you kumquat! You're overreacting when I put your convertible into a wood chipper, stinking extinct face. Uh-oh. You Hoboken.
Oh yeah, Daddy.
Cocaine.
Hell yeah. So Eric Bischoff, thank you, Manny.
Bischoff.
Yeah, that's who I was trying to think of, and like I was just pulling a fucking blank. But it turns out you were saying that Vince Russo. What is that? Fucking the Peter Pan movie with
Rufio.
Rufio. Yeah, Hook. That's it. Yeah,
Best 90s movie ever.
yeah. That's a fucking man. That's a killer. I used to watch that all the time when I was a kid. But yeah, you were saying Vince Russo came in and started writing towards the second half of that. So
Yeah.
I was unaware of that until today. So today years old. Yeah. So oh man, I had there was something that we were talking about earlier. Oh yeah. Duh. So when did you guys start watching wrestling? Like what got you like how old were you guys when you started watching?
It was about 1985, 1986. My dad, he got me into it. It was a family thing on Saturday night main events and then Saturday morning wrestling. And then they used to have events at Notre Dame all the time at the ACC. So like being the lucky kid I was, I got to go to all those early events.
And they're bringing back Saturday nights, right?
They are the 14th.
14th.
They're going to do it once a month, it looks like.
I thought that was pretty cool. I saw The Rock on there on that promo. I was like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
That guy, he's like herpes. You just can't get rid of him.
Yeah.
He just won't give it up.
I don't understand, like, why. Like, I know they're not going to be paying him that much. Maybe he just can't get away.
No, now he owns, or he's on the board.
He's on the board now?
Of TKO, so he's getting paid. And then and because he's on the board, he gets to do whatever he wants, right? I mean, so he just injects himself whenever he sees fit.
There's like a 10-year run. Dwayne Johnson was like the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
But why?
Because he was a movie slut.
Yeah.
No, but why? His acting. So
I don't know,
bad.
man. What's the one that he did with Sean William Scott back in the day? I fucking love that movie.
that one was good. The Rundown.
Yeah,
that was a good one,
dude. And that was like his second fucking movie. And
but now he's made like 25 sequels to Fast and the Furious.
Right. I didn't think that he did a horrible job of in Standing Tall or Walking Tall. Is it Walking or Standing Tall?
It was Walking Tall.
I know it was a remake.
Oh, it is. It's Standing Tall.
Is it Standing Tall?
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, it was a little bit cheesy, but watching it was like, okay. I mean, it seemed like he was being typecast, which, I mean, yeah, I can't think. Well, no, I was going to say I can't think of anything else he's been in, but wasn't he like a Tooth Fairy or some shit?
He was in a Disney movie. It was called Tooth Fairy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a movie with Ryan Reynolds too that wasn't too bad. It was like
that was good. It was like a spy movie or something.
Red something.
That was
like
a
a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
What?
I watched that about 8 months ago. It was actually pretty good. Well, Ryan Reynolds made it pretty good.
Sitting in a we're back. I was like sitting in a hotel room in Europe, and I was like bored out of my mind. I was like, okay, I'll watch this. And actually, it wasn't bad.
Oh, Red Notice.
Red Notice.
Ah, yeah, that's it. Red Notice.
Did I watch this? I don't know if I've seen it. I'm gonna watch it tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. Did you, man? So, what about you? When did you start?
Mine's a long story. So both my father and my uncle were both professional wrestlers. For I believe it was the IWF. They were their sister kind of network or franchise was NWA, right? That was there in Kentucky. So I grew up with all that. I grew up from a very young age. I grew up with the professional wrestlers that you saw in the WWF before the WWF blew up. I saw them in my backyard because it was split up in smaller territories. My dad and my uncle's job. And there was also another wrestler called Homer Marlowe. And then, of course, Dick the Bruiser. They were all part of this territory. But when wrestlers would come in from one territory to another, it was their job, my dad, my uncle's job, to set up the ring and to, book the show and everything else. Well, usually before that, the night before, there was a layover. So the wrestlers would come and stay at the house. So, I mean, I know it was like Hillbilly Jim, Mr. Wonderful, the Iron Sheik, all the ones from the 80s were ones who were at my house growing up.
Man, that's crazy.
So it was interesting. My dad, his stint with wrestling wasn't as pronounced as my uncle. My uncle ended up going to Japan and wrestling for a few years. He was actually Mr. Indiana 1969. And that's they billed him as Tom Mr. Indiana Lynch. So,
man, that's awesome. You've met some really cool fucking motherfuckers, man.
At a young age, and I didn't even know it because I was just like, oh, this is just, dad's coworkers, that's how they were presented to me. And yeah, so it was, at a young age, helping dad, load up the mat and the ring and take it out to, we have a place in Elkhart. Forgot what it was. What was that? High school? Northside Gym. And they would set it up and they would bill it out. And oh yeah, my dad several times he's since passed, but his favorite stories were about Roddy Piper and Andre the Giant, because those stories that you hear about Andre the Giant and drinking were absolutely positively true.
Hell yeah!
Because my dad has old 8mm film of a young Andre the Giant and him drinking, and in those smaller venues, yes, you would get paid, but you would only get paid like $25, $30. But after the match was over, after everything was over, then the beermen would come in and they would come in with these trolleys full of beer and you could just sit there and party. And so that was one of the things my dad and Andre would always, and not that they cross paths a lot, But when they did cross paths, oh yeah, my dad liked to drink, and he had some stories. And with Roddy Piper, he said, hell of a nice guy. He said one of the nicest guys that he had ever done business with. He said in the ring, totally different story, but outside of the ring, total sweetheart.
Yeah. They screwed him over, right? The WWE.
In what way?
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of somebody else.
I don't think they screwed Roddy over.
No, I'm thinking of
Bret Hart,
the guy with the snake. Yeah.
Oh, Jake,
the Snake.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think Jake the Snake kind of screwed himself over. I mean, he got hooked on his demons, and
Is that yeah?
if you watch Beyond the Mat, he was like smoking crack in that.
Yep.
Like you just
lots of crack, lots of cocaine.
I think he just recently had like somewhat of a resurgence in his career for nostalgia's sake through AEW.
Yep.
What do you guys think about the movie that they came out with like 2002? It was based off of WCW. I can't believe it was right there in my head.
I know which movie you're talking about.
It's got
David Arquette.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was awesome back then.
So what about you? Did you think it was awesome?
I don't know that I've seen it. I'm not sure that I've seen it.
Oh man.
Like Goldberg's in it. Macho Man was in it.
Sting.
Now I know what I'm watching this weekend.
Dude,
I don't think I've seen it, or if I did, I may have been inebriated to the point to where the next day I didn't remember it, which back then, 2002, yeah, I could see that happening.
The King.
Yeah, the King. All hail the King.
Yes, dude. Man, yeah, you need.
I will definitely.
Diamond Dallas Page was in that too.
Right, yes, that was my dude.
That was the Diamond Cutter days.
That was my dude.
Yeah.
Him and who else? WCW. Damn.
It was almost all their main roster showed up for that movie.
Yeah, but Ready to Rumble.
Ready to Rumble. Okay.
I watched a documentary, and I've read that a lot of people, especially in the wrestling world, hate him and hate the fact that he made that movie. They blame David Arquette for the end of the image of wrestling, because they claim that he ruined supposedly everybody believed that the wrestling matches weren't like written or whatever, because it's real. It's obviously fucking real.
Yeah.
But
They're basically determined.
Yeah. And so basically they there's, the wrestling world hates him for doing that movie because it ruined wrestling for tons of people. And that's why I asked how you felt about it, because I thought it was fucking awesome.
No,
and it really got me more excited about wrestling back then. You know what I mean? Because it was such a good movie. I thought it was great.
Well, it was really marketed towards, the younger, like, high school.
Yeah, I mean, that's I was in high school, so
boys,
yeah.
And like early college kids, like, that's what it was for. It wasn't for the serious, like, hardcore mark.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a fun movie. The only bad thing that really came out of that is David Arquette legitimately got a title.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that was one of the big issues. But then that dude from GCW cut him open with a pizza cutter, and that was fucking awesome. He wrestled a death match, and I mean, he got.
The more you start talking about it, the more I'm thinking I'm remembering bits and pieces of.
Hell yeah,
so, yeah.
It's fun. Like I just thought it was really fun, and it's just there's this negative backlash from the movie, according to like, documentaries and whatnot, and even to the point where David Arquette was like trying to make a comeback and trying to earn the love and appreciation back from the wrestling world.
Well, that's when he started messing with GCW and got fucked up.
Okay. Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, that's all in that. And I think there was like a Dark Side of the Ring episode on that. And
Dark Side of the Ring. I don't think I've seen that.
It's like it was like a weekly wrestling documentary, and all the horrible things that happen behind the scenes are like horrible stories.
Yeah, it's like a documentary serial.
Is it where is that on like YouTube or something?
You can probably find it on YouTube, or Hulu has it. They run all the episodes.
That's it then. Yeah. I definitely haven't seen it. Not a big Hulu guy.
But you want to talk about like shows based on wrestling. That show Heels. And it's so disappointing it only had 3 seasons. 2 or 3 seasons. That show was fucking phenomenal. Because it's all based on a family in Georgia running a small promo. And just it showed like all the behind the scenes, like this is how we write a show, this is how we get heat. But it was like, like a drama, and that was really cool.
Jen chimed in. It's walking tall, not standing tall. That was probably like 10 years ago. So let's do a switch up. So when did you guys like individually start playing music? What got you into music?
I can take that back to 1997, and it was the first time I heard Bad Religion and NoFX, which is probably the cheesiest like corporate punk rock answer ever, but it's true. My sister was a couple years younger than me, and she had some friends, and I was like into skateboarding. I was a lot thinner at the time, and she brought home these CDs and gave them to me, and it's just like it was instant.
Boom. Hell yeah.
I think like by 98, I bought a shitty Gremlin guitar from a buddy at school and learned power chords, and it's all been downhill since then.
Well, if I have to say the year, because Manny said his year, the year would be 1986. And my first band that I was in, let me back up. My dad bought me a bass guitar because my grandfather actually owned a violin studio in South Bend. So I got indoctrinated to play violin, and then I was in like orchestra, but then by the time you hit 10 or 11 years old, you realize maybe this isn't as cool as something else could be musically. So my dad bought me a bass guitar, so I ended up being in a Christian rock band called Seventh Heaven.
Hell yeah,
where the V's were devil horns, but they were halos over them.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so that was the first band, and then that band broke up because we had creative differences. So then the other half of the band, I went with them. We formed another Christian rock band called Trinity, and it was a 3-piece.
Nice.
So then after that, I kind of just for lack of a better term, played with myself for a few years. And then in 1990, I think it was 1990. I totally went the other way, and I started playing in a death metal band in 1990 with our now drummer who plays for the Foleys, the Baron. So the Baron and I have been playing together for many, many years, at least 35 years.
That's awesome. Interesting. So like you started with Christian bands, and you were saying that what got you into music was like NoFX and Bad Religion.
Yeah.
And interesting. So I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music as a kid. And about the time that you got into that is when first time I'd ever heard of Bad Religion. And that's because the band that introduced me to punk music was MXPX.
Okay.
And I saw them at a Christian, show or whatever.
That was back when they were still doing the anti-abortion rallies and praying and stuff.
Yeah. And they switched over to Virgin Records, and it sent ripples through the Christian music community. And there used to be a Christian magazine that was released every month called Reach, I think is what it was called. And this is how I found out that they did this, because whatever, it's 97. We had the internet, but it's not like today. And they put out the magazine, they're free, and I see Bad Religion on the front cover of this thing, and I can't remember what the picture was, and I open it up, and it's all about MXPX leaving Tooth and Nail and going to Virgin. And that's how I was introduced to Bad Religion and NoFX, was because of MXPX switching over. And I just found it interesting, like the combo between the two of you. But
I think everybody in the late 90s, though, we all had those Tooth and Nail comps, right? Everybody.
Oh yeah.
Or when POD was like punk rock and Christian.
Yeah.
I have a live CD still in my collection where it's like they're playing some like church gig and like praying after every song, and it's like, what in the fuck is going on?
And there's a lot of bands that crossed over, and I wonder how much like MXPX had to do with it, or not to do with it, but like Sixpence None the Richer, Skillet, even Jars of Clay like picked up a little bit. I don't think they ever switched over though, but there was a lot of bands during that period of time that actually like made it out of the fucking Christian arena.
They got a lot of mainstream success out of that scene.
Mm-hmm. But so you hear, I love the first band name. That's Seven Heaven, and I'm sure it had nothing to do with the TV show, right?
It was way before the TV show.
Hell yeah,
1986.
Yeah, that is way before. Okay, for some reason, it just automatically, that was one of the few shows I was allowed to watch on TV. By the way, but that's awesome. And the Halos, that's super cool. Do you remember the first band name that you were in?
Yeah, Brain Dead. So I started that when I was in high school. And it went till I left for college for a little bit, and then we picked it up like my sophomore year of high school and ran with it for like another 5 or 6 years. So we kept it going for quite a while. But yeah, I still talk to some of those guys.
I remember seeing Brain Dead, and then we didn't even know each other at the time. But
we were an Oi band, so like that was the crazy thing. Like once I got into college, like got into like the sharp scene and everything, and it's just like, yeah, we're starting an Oi band. We're just gonna sing songs about drinking and fighting.
Oh yeah.
So that was a good time to be alive.
So like, it doesn't have to be the Foleys, but what's the craziest show you've ever played?
It was with Brain Dead. Actually, we drove out to Dover, New Hampshire. Was that Brain Dead or was that Cause for Concern? It was Brain Dead.
Yeah, it wasn't Cause for Concern.
Because we were in Dover, New Hampshire. We had played Long Island the night before. Drove out to Dover, and there was this bar, and it was like a bunch of skinhead chicks and a bunch of Hells Angels bikers. And before the show even kicked off, there was like this huge fight and the venue cleared. And it was just like absolute pandemonium outside this little shithole venue where there's a couple hundred people there waiting. The fight breaks out and then there's like nothing. So we ended up playing to an empty venue. It was like, God damn it. It was just craziness. This is before the show starts. It's just like, that was one of the craziest experiences.
And which band was that? Was that Foleys?
That was in the Brain Dead.
Brain Dead. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I think for me, I mean, there's been a lot of crazy times, but one that I can't help but replay in my mind for the comedic value and just for the whole thing was Manny and I was in another band called Cause for Concern, and we went out and we played Long Island, and we left for the weekend. We had a stop over in Ohio, and then we went to Long Island. And when we left, unbeknownst to us, our drummer had contracted a sexually transmitted disease. And so he had the drippy dick. And
Drip and burn.
Yeah, and if he would have let me know, I was kind of like the band's pharmacist. Oh, what do you need? I got antibiotics, I got antifungal, whatever you need, right? But he wanted to tough it out. So it was very, very hot. I think we played in July or something.
Yeah, it was nasty.
It was balls out. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It was that East Coast, like, dank 100-degree weather.
Yeah,
mid-July.
So we get to the venue, and it was in Long Island or New Babylon.
That was with
Murphy's Law,
Stigma, and Wisdom in Chains.
Yep. And we're going. We finally get out, and we're unloading gear, and we're thinking about starting to set up. And our drummer comes out and comes up to me and goes, "Dude, I don't think I can play." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude? You know?" He's like, "I don't think I can play." And I was like, "Why? Because you're cramped in the car?" He's like, "No, dude." He goes, "I got the drippy dick." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Come here." And I was like, "What?" Go in the bathroom. So I was like, "Okay, what are you talking about, dude?" So then, yeah, he whips his shit out. Yeah, thanks, Mikey. And I'm like,
scarred for life.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Whoa, dude." Yeah, and he goes, "Yeah, dude, I can't do it. I said, "Nope. What we're going to do here is," and we took toilet paper and we wrapped this shit up like a mummy, and then we stuck it in his underwear, and we're like, "You're playing like this, dude." And we ended up playing this show. Our lead guitarist, shout out to Travis, ended up getting heat exhaustion that day. My girlfriend at the time, who became my wife, who became my ex-wife, almost took a flight home because she was under the impression that, oh, you're in a band, we're gonna have hotel rooms and all this shit, and it's like, no, dude, we don't even shower, we don't even get a room,
We're sleeping on the floor.
yeah, we're squatting, and
Right.
and she wasn't about that. So on the way back, so she went all the way from Ohio to New York, watched the show. Then we went all the way back to South Bend and she didn't sleep. So she must have not slept all together the whole night. So she didn't sleep for almost 48 hours. Oh yeah, it was an interesting ride home. And she kept on saying, none of you motherfuckers say a goddamn thing. It was just crazy. So between Mikey with his drippy dick, the heat exhaustion of Travis, but I must say the crowd in Long Island, they were very accommodating. They were awesome. We had an awesome time, and there's still some video out on YouTube that shows some of those songs. So
what?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a pretty good time. Long Island, the scene out in Long Island was a shit.
It was.
We get invited to play their punk rock barbecues. They usually had them in July or August.
Yep.
Those are always a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I think the craziest city I've ever played is Philly, though. Like, Philly is nuts. I watched somebody get stabbed over a piece of pizza.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, isn't that like one of the most angriest markets out there?
Oh, it was like we were playing at a bar that was, I think we were on the third floor. The venue was on the third floor, and it had a big bay window. And we're like looking out, and we see this guy come out of the pizza restaurant across the street. And my drummer's like doing something, and he turns around. And he's like, "You got to come here. There's two guys fighting in the middle of the street." We stop playing and go towards the window, and we're watching. We were just watching this dude getting stabbed repeatedly over a fucking piece of pizza. Philly is nuts. They cut our. We had another group following us. They cut one of our car's tires. And it's like, this place is just crazy,
man.
And I've gone out there on other times that had like, stayed at a hotel, had street parking, go to leave the next day, and somebody took a shit next to my passenger side door. I mean, you can see the handprints on the door where they're holding on to a big pile of human shit. Thanks, Philly.
That reminds me of a quick funny story. It wasn't a really crazy show, but what I got away with in plain sight was awesome. There was a show that was at that same venue that Manny was talking about earlier that he met me at, where the King of the Ring was there. I had played in a band called Flood Bar. It was kind of like a poppy punk sort of band. I look like Orville Redenbacher's bastard child, right? So I've got this bow tie on, this white shirt, my hair's dyed blonde, sticking up. I've got those weird 90s glasses on, and I'm wearing these khaki shorts. And I went to go grab a pack of cigarettes, and I shit my pants. And when I shit my pants, it bled through everything. I mean, there was a big shit stain there. And my buddy Brendan, or a lot of people know him as Stu, hell of a nice guy, he goes, "I got this." And I go, "What?" You know, I thought maybe he had a change of clothes for me. He goes and just grabs a Sharpie, draws a circle around it, and wrote, "I shit my pants." And he's like, "Just run with it, dude." So I'm like, okay. So the whole show, I ended up just playing with a pants full of shit, and everybody thought it was the funniest thing. "Oh, that's so cool. It's so awesome. It's so punk rock." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." But
Yeah.
I'm thinking, "Oh man, I got monkey butt now. You know, I want to hurry up and get done with the set so I can clean my drawers, you know." But yeah, that was a kind of crazy too.
Oof. That is fucking great, dude. That's fucking wild, man. Damn. That's a good story, dude.
That is a pretty good
Hell
story.
yeah. You got me over here like fucking I'm trying to think of man, yeah. Dude. So I wanted to do this. We did it last week. I want to do it again. So oh shit. There it is. Let's do what's in the box. So basically we do this thing where we're gonna we'll pass it around. I'm pretty sure we can loft this motherfucker. So I'm gonna pull a question and everybody's got to answer, and then Manny, you're gonna pull, and then you'll pull. Actually, Manny, you go ahead and pull first. You ready? I got it. You don't have to get up. I can get it there.
All right.
Those are so much easier than VHS, I swear.
All right. All right. What is 6 divided by 2 times 1 plus 2? Well, it's the parentheses. It's math.
Oh my God. Why?
The order of operations, right? It's the multiplication or the
PEMDAS.
so it's
Parentheses first.
Yep. So that's 3 times 2. 6 divided by 6 is 1. I think it's 1.
It could be. Let me see. Let me put my professor brain
I'm
to
do
it.
math here. That was not my strong suit. I ran out of fingers and toes.
I come up with something different. I go 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 6 is 0.
Okay. Let me see it. Just put it up. So that's 3.
Put it in 6.
The answer is 9.
The answer is 9.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both wrong.
Does anybody out there? So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. That's what I'm coming up with.
So you do the.
Is there anybody
first.
that does math? Oh yeah. So Shannon wants to know, have you guys ever heard of Midnight Mob?
Have not.
No, I'm not.
Joe's like, I have no idea, dude. No idea.
Does
that's got to be one of the oddest questions ever pulled, for sure. That's what's in the box. So
that's what's in the box.
So do we keep it out of the box?
I'm not a fucking mathematician. I know, Shannon. I know. I don't know who put that in there.
We play music. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't do math.
I'm pretty sure the answer is 9.
Mine says wild.
Oh, that means you picked the question.
I picked the question.
Yeah, it starts with me and then it comes back to you.
Okay. Let's see. How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend made me.
Made you, huh?
She said, if you don't fuck me, I'm gonna leave you.
Okay.
So I fucking 11:30 at night dragged my ass out of my parents' house, walked to her house, like quietly snuck into her fucking house, and her parents' bedroom is next to hers, and that quietly, very quietly, had to give her the old D. And the best part about it is her TV was plugged in next to her bed, and that was like our only like noise pollution. Thrust forward, TV turns on, thrust back, TV turns off, and that was going down for 2-3 minutes, you know. And somebody in her parents' room started making noise, and I had to like jump out her window and fucking, I didn't even come, so it was horrible. But yeah, that's how I lost my virginity. I got forced to. It was that, or I was gonna lose the love of my life. Get it? You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. What about you, Manny?
That's a weird question to ask on one of these shows. I'm still a virgin. I'm 42 and still a virgin.
It's cool, man.
No,
I make movies about that shit.
I was 15, and the chick lived by Scottsdale Mall in South Bend. So if you know the South Side, South Bend, that's in that time period was the only place to really go. So I had to walk from my house, which was about 1.5 miles. Almost got hit by a bus on the way there, crossing the street. But we were on a half day of school, so our parents weren't home. So we didn't have to worry about anything else. It was like my buddy and her best friend were there. When we come walking out of the room, and it was just like, you know, obvious what happened. Look of disappointment, look of shame. Yeah, that's it. It was 15 years old. I was I can't do math, so I can't put the years in. 98, 99.
Right on. For me, we will count my 16th birthday as the first time. I actually had sex when I was in single digits, but we won't talk about that because this might be more of a family friendly story. So, when I was 16 on my 16th birthday, my stepbrother, who was a few years older than me, had a girlfriend up in Michigan and was like, "Hey, why don't you come over? Why don't you come with me? She's got a sister. We can hang out." I was like, "Okay." And when we got there, we snuck up. They were at like their parents' or grandparents' lake cottage. We snuck up to the apartment that was on top of the garage, and my stepbrother ended up convincing the girl, was like, "Hey, it's his 16th birthday. Why don't you have sex with him?" And she's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Well, okay." So I remembered that The Lost Boys was playing on VHS on the TV. And I remember her saying, "Do you have a condom?" And I was like, yeah, I got a condom. And I pulled it out of my little Velcro wallet and tried to put it on. First time I had ever tried to put on a condom. Didn't realize that you can only put them on one way because you can't really roll them down the other way. So as I'm trying to roll it down, it snaps. And I'm like, if I don't have the condom on, I'm not going to be able to get laid. So what I did is I just kind of continued to rip it and then just push it down my shaft so that when she felt it, she could feel that there was a little bit of a rubber ring down next to my balls. Got about 2 pumps in, made a mess. And I think like a week later, she started creeping up on me saying, I'm pregnant, but she wasn't pregnant. It was kind of one of those, hey, I seen you once, not seen you again.
You didn't have to grow up with the fear of having seen the movie Kids, though.
Right.
At that point, like I was in that Kids that just came out generation. So, I mean, that fucks with your head.
I could see that.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Oh,
I've heard about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Huh. Not watching that tonight.
That movie is
I've got something else better.
Do it.
Hell yeah, you got it.
Oh no.
Wah, 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 wah.
There we go.
I'll grab it for you. Quick.
I got it. No,
Sure.
it's easier.
Okay.
I got it.
Story of my life, always falling short.
Welcome to the Foleys.
Right?
All right.
Now, see, if that would have been a chair or a crutch or a table, I would have been able to hit you.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, I grabbed 2, 3. Do this one.
Oh, what do they call that?
MSR.
Yeah.
Building anticipation.
This is a good one. Maddie, what do you collect?
Oh man, I collect a few things. We'll start with the Office Funko Pop bobbleheads. I almost have them all. It's one of the things I collect. Yeah, records.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just nerdy shit. Nerdy shit.
For me, besides broken dreams, video game systems. I have a lot of different video game systems. Music equipment, a lot of those too. Motorcycles. Yeah, I've got like 7 or 8 motorcycles. I call myself a collector. Most people call me hoarders, or that I'm a hoarder. If you were to go into my house, you'd be like, why the hell do you have all this stuff? And my answer would be because I got a good deal on it. So.
If you need something, you just call it Professor. He has it.
Absolutely.
Like every time we need something.
Absolutely. I'd be like, oh, I got one of those, and there's order to my chaos. There'll be a big, huge heap in the basement, and I'll kind of jump in it. Only my feet are sticking out for a little while. You hear some rustling, and I'll be like, here, I got that, RCA cord that you needed for your VCR, right?
Hell yeah.
What about you?
I am like you. I am a collector of things as well. Some intentionally, like the cords. Unintentionally, I just can't do it. I remember there was somebody at work who was like trying to find this specific cord, and I was like, I got that. And they're like, no way, nobody has it. And sure enough, I had that fucking power cord. But intentionally, I collect movies, cards, like baseball cards, all that stuff. I even have a small Pokemon card collection. But yeah, cards, movies, records, kind of. I kind of fell off of that because, man, expensive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous now.
Yeah. And then gear too. I'm a collector of gear. Although right now I'm like selling a lot of it. So, but yeah.
Right on.
Not motorcycles. That'd be dope.
So I'm right there with you on the cable. See, I'm an IT guy when I'm not in the Foleys. So I have like boxes of random cables everywhere.
Yeah.
She's like, my girlfriend moved in and she's like, you need to get rid of it. I'm like, no, what if? And she's like, no, when's the last time you actually? It's like, you don't understand.
Yep. I think it's a guy thing. I think every guy has their secret stash. It could be as small as it'll fit in a shoebox, or like Manny and myself, it takes several clothes hampers and big, huge moving boxes.
Yeah.
You know, and mine, at least I can speak for me. Mine are never orderly. They're
Never.
just in this big, huge wad, because untangling it is like half the fun. Or
Yeah, exactly.
I keep one under my desk.
there you
exactly
go.
like that.
Yep,
That is
exactly.
that's it.
This is like 1/100th of my collection.
Sure.
Of cords too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is this what yours looks like
Oh,
as
yeah.
well?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly like that.
Absolutely.
And it's like one of those things. I remember one time I had a period of time where I was off of work for like a couple months, and I went through, actually did that thing, and I organized all my cords, and like power cords, basically like TVs, amps. I had 25 of them. I'm like, dude, I'm never running out of these, and I still do. I probably have more now. Shit. But
Sure.
yeah, it's like one of those things. Yeah. I love the fact that I have one under. I could just, and then hold on. Like, dude, I have just, it's wild. Like, cause doing the podcast thing and being a musician and then being a fucking dork, I just have so many fucking chords. Let's do it. Let's do another one. That was a fun one. Wonder if we can get another good one. These are all wild. One more. All right, here we go.
It's no more math.
Yeah. What's your guilty pleasure band? Which is weird to even think about, because it's like, that means that this band is a band that's not liked by the majority. And it's like, no.
But see, and then what majority though? Because like,
it's weird. It's
So,
a
like-
weird question, because it's like an elitist question almost.
like,
But I got an answer.
all right, so in the punk rock scene, I mean, who actually respects or listens to Post Malone? I fucking love the guy. I went to a show. I thought he was a mumble rapper forever. I was like hardcore, like, fuck Post Malone. This guy sucks. Went to one show, watched him light a cigarette, strap on a guitar, and not miss his vocal patterns all at the same time. Just like, okay, I'm down.
Hell yeah.
And it's been I'm all about it every time now. I'll listen to him over a lot of other stuff now. So I mean, that's totally.
That's a perfect answer.
Lose my punk rock cred there, but I
Yeah.
mean, the guy's a fucking genius.
Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. Punk rock cred. Like,
yeah,
to me, like, punk rock is not a fucking genre. It's not a style. It's a fucking idea. It's a thought. It's a way of life. It's not.
Look at you quoting Return of the Living Dead.
Is that from Return of the Living Dead? I don't know.
but see, when we were coming up, that's all that mattered was
Yeah.
the street cred.
Yeah.
Well, remember in SLC
You
Punk?
think it's a costume? This is a way of life.
Right.
That's what it was.
Well, it's an idea. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like SLC Punk. Like, there's all these people that look punk rock,
sure.
and then you
Yeah.
got the guy, the most hardcore guy, looks like a fucking dork.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
So,
Oh, absolutely.
And ironically, he went to Notre Dame in the movie
Yeah, he did.
Mike.
yeah, that's
He
right.
did go
Yeah.
to Notre Dame.
to become a biologist or a botanist or some shit.
Yeah.
You got one.
My guilty pleasure, typo negative. I've had a hard on for Peter Steele. I don't know why, even way back when he was in Carnivore, but not so much as typo negative. Typo negative, just when I was a late teen, it just, I don't know, it resonated with me. Something about either fucking to it or just eating a bunch of acid and listening to it. It resonated with me. And still to this day, I listen to it, even though he's been gone now, I think 10 or 12 years. I still listen to him.
Hell yeah.
I still love it. It brings back happy thoughts.
I guess for me, I would go with Avenged Sevenfold. because people just absolutely fucking hate that band. And
What they were doing was like revolutionary though. Their guitar work. Like we were in a band where our old lead guitarist Travis was like
All about it. Avenged
all about it,
Sevenfold and
and
Trivium.
Trivium.
He was all about.
So we were playing punk rock, but he was like throwing in sweep picking and all this like pinched harmonics and cool shit that he learned from that. And it's just like, respect it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Probably arguably one of the best drummers ever until he passed away.
Yeah, the Rev.
Yeah. But that's me. I just don't believe in all the fucking hype. You know what I mean? Like it's because everybody this and that. And it's just like whatever, dude.
We're in 2024, right? We're in this time like where there's so much music out there. It's like, can you really hate on much anything? I mean,
I'm surprised nobody in wrestling ever used that "Hail to the King" song.
Yeah,
like
Sure.
I always figured that would be, like Triple H, like he'd walk out to that or something. But come on.
Typo Negative did a walkout theme for Kane that was never used. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Fun fact.
So I heard that WWE doesn't like to pay royalties on their music, so it's mostly it gets donated to them. So they pay like no royalties, like Downstate for their Cody Rhodes theme song. Like I don't know if they get paid for that or not, but I mean they use it constantly. But everything I was reading about how they treat their musical artists, if they can do a cover of it in house and just pay for the rights to do the cover, they do that. But I don't think they give original artists much of anything to use their music.
Talking about the mix between music and wrestling, one of the things that just popped in my head, if you've ever seen the video by Cyndi Lauper, the Goonies video, that is so awesome. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not. And they even have that part 2, right? They have the first one and then the part 2. I thought that time in wrestling, because I was living it live then, where they had that whole Rock and Roll Express with Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper and the fusion of rock and roll and wrestling, and you got Hulk Hogan being the real American playing this song and stuff like that. It was just, living.
Is that the song McMahon sang?
Oh no, that was a different song, but it had Hogan playing bass and like.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It had a whole bunch of people playing, like someone was playing saxophone and No, this was just him playing.
That video was incredible.
Yeah. But I can remember, and I can remember thinking, not only was it cool because I was just getting into music as a little kid, and I was like, wow. And for example, The Goonies was my favorite movie growing up.
Hell
I think every 80s kid it was, right? You wanted to be lost in what was it, Estonia? Was that the name of the town? But not only that, but then it resonated with the whole wrestling side too. And this was before, well, I don't want to say it was before wrestling blew up, because wrestling was pretty big when you started looking at the late 80s. I mean, it really gained some momentum, all the territories were unified, and it was it definitely had some inertia, but it was all new, and then in the 90s it got bigger and bigger and over the top, right? And now you're like, holy shit, look at it, it looks like a rock opera. That's what because from the 80s to the Attitude Era, I stopped watching for a little bit because life kind of got in the way, right? And then I kind of came back into the fold. And then when I watched this, I was like, holy shit, this is like a rock opera. This is craziness, and I instantly was hooked again, but in a different way. Whereas before I was this naive child with innocent eyes. Now I was like, dude, this is badass. This is like wrestling 2.0, And I just loved it. But I always loved that symbiosis between wrestling and music. I thought it's awesome, and I think it's something that they had the Misfits were in wrestling.
They had
for a while.
Vampiro. They did his music, and they came out with him, and that was thought that was WCW.
Okay, and then of course we have ICP and
their JCW, which is fucking dope. Those guys are reviving their brand there. That's some awesome stuff.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, like everybody had the little fucking WWF little box, fighting ring, and then all the toys, and remember the stuffed ones, the
Yep,
big,
the plush ones.
yeah,
The Ruffalo buddies.
Yep.
yeah, and believe me and my friends, we would fucking, play with those things, dude.
So did you have the wrestlers that had the actual opposable body parts, or did you have the like
Stiff.
Yeah,
Stiff.
See, that's what I had too when I was a kid, and that was, there's nothing like getting pissed off at someone and just like chucking it across the room.
Man, and even but when you're by yourself, you got the little ring, and you have your little matches, and just sit there. Hell yeah! And then you get older, and then they start introducing like more women into it, and you're like, hell yeah! Oh yeah! Just going down memory lane over here. Oh yeah!
It's like a weekly occurrence.
Hell yeah! So I love to ask this question, and it's a tough one. So if whoever comes up with it first. If it takes a second, I could throw mine out there. What's the best advice in any way, like the best advice you've ever been given?
My mom, who has since passed, she always used to say, cooler heads prevail. And when I was a teen, I didn't really understand it. I was really hot-headed, yeah, whatever. And that caused me to get into a lot of trouble. Once I kind of moved on into my 20s and definitely my 30s. And now more than ever, it's a staple that, shit might happen and it might get you fired up, but just cooler heads or prevail. Just don't worry about it right now. It seems like right now people are always worried about, well, I got to show them that they're not getting over on me. So I gotta bring it to their face or something like that. No, I'd rather, just be cool, be chill. If they want to feel like they won this argument, this whatever, fine, let them, because I know what I feel in my head, in my heart. And I know that if I were to get worked up, something small could end up going into something big, like stabbing someone in Philly repeatedly over pizza, right? Yeah. Instead, that probably could have been
give me that pepperoni slice.
Exactly. It could have been solved by just the guy going to the bathroom, taking a shit, and coming back out and being like, hey, you know what? I don't want to put that piece of pizza anyway. So, yeah.
It's probably pretty hungry, though.
Probably.
It's Philly.
But, yeah, Mom used to always say cooler heads prevail. And when she used to say that, I never really understood the magnitude of it until later in life.
So I wish I could say that mine came from somebody like close to me. But I think the best piece of advice I ever heard was from Henry Rollins. And he was talking about this sign in the bathroom in Japan, and it translated to be drinkable. So it's like always be drinkable, be calm, go with the flow. And I think that's especially later in life now. I'm learning to adopt that more, like, because I was a hothead asshole like growing up, and
I've been there too, man. Like I at one point in my career of Domino's, I was just a pain in the ass. I would, I just didn't understand how to talk to people, how to manage properly. And then I started working with somebody that was super level-headed, and he taught me the importance of listening and trying to be more empathetic. And it ultimately changed my entire life to where now, whenever I'm in a situation like where someone's angry, I'm able to be cool and calm. And then also when faced with a moment of danger or whatever, I'm pretty good at it. So, but it has other effects where it's like right now you should probably be like upset or something, but I'm just better at managing that, keeping calm and keeping cool.
It's like keeping that zen.
Yeah.
Hey, so many people walk around with chips on their shoulders still today. It's
yeah.
Like, yep. The world doesn't need more of that. I mean, it's gotten so bad. Like, everybody's always angry. Yep. Everybody's always pissed off, and it's just like
chips on their shoulders.
It's more punk rock to just stay cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just
there's that punk rock thing again. Yeah.
Just you don't have to throw a Molotov cocktail until it's time to throw a Molotov cocktail.
So, for me, the best advice I've ever been given is I was told to read a book. Like, you should read this book. And it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. And it is a fucking killer book. And the sum of it is like, Write down the top 5 things that mean the most to you, that matter the most to you. And usually it's always going to be, your family, your job, your house, yada, yada, yada. And those things are the things that you need to put your focus and energy into. And all of these other things that don't matter, like, who gives a fuck? Like, fuck it. Like, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, I need to focus on these things. But I mean, I'm just summing up, but it's a really good book.
So
if you guys,
I have that book in my Audible collection.
Nice.
And I usually listen to books when I'm traveling for work. So I'll have to listen to it my next trip.
Did you so you haven't listened to it?
Have not listened to it yet.
Well, so Mark actually he does the reading on that.
Okay.
And man, I'm telling you right now, when you get through it, hit me up. I want you to tell me how you like what happened to you when you listened to that, because I'll tell you right now, dude, I fucking teared up first time because I didn't read it. I actually listened to it, and man, that last chapter hit me fucking hard. I was bawling. I was at work sitting there packing these fucking computers up, and I'm just sitting, tears running down, like, it's so fucking. Oh God, it hit me right in the email. But oh yeah, it's a good book, beginning to end too.
I'll listen to it and I'll hit you up whenever.
Oh yeah,
through it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Man, that was good. And you guys answer that one quick too. Like, good job. Hell yeah. It's a tough one, but and the sum of it is almost all, like be drinkable, cooler heads prevail, and then subtle art not giving a fuck. It's all about, fucking keeping your shit together and not, losing it.
There are too many graveyards and too many prisons that are full of good people who just had a bad snap, right? One rash decision now change their life. We were actually just talking about that with one of our friends who are locked up in that Miami prison that's there next to Peru. Awesome guy, just made a bad decision where maybe cooler heads should have prevailed and he would have been here now on the outside with us.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean that, even at the core, like fucking Facebook buzz. People could just like not go to social media to like,
Oh, I've been guilty of that one. Like,
oh yeah, say it.
Until a couple years ago. Like, then I realized, like, oh wait, like something clicked, and it's like, no, you know what? Facebook is not the place to talk about this, because one, it makes it look bad, or like emotionally unstable, maybe lack a little empathy. But two, it's telling everybody else around you like too much, like things they don't need to know. It's like internalizing things, being more private, and actually working through it, than instead of just going on this long tangent that means nothing.
I write flaming replies, but I never hit send. I delete them. I'll write it and I'll be like, yeah, that's a good one. And I'll sit there and look at it for a second and be like, yeah. And then I'll delete it.
Hell yeah. So what I do, just in case I accidentally hit the button, is I'll whip out the notes on my phone and I'll just type it all out.
Scathing rebuttal.
Yep. And then I'll fucking hit back, and I have like probably 40 notes that were text messages or Facebook posts that I wanted to like fuck it out. You know what I mean? But instead I just
it's like not even worth the argument. Like that, to be like really into political posts and like talking politics to people. But you know what? Like now it's not worth the fucking argument. You're not going to change anybody's mind.
No.
All it's going to do is create a deeper divide.
Yep.
And you're just going to be angry over it. And it's just like, man, I'm already angry about a lot of stuff myself. Don't project that. Like keep your opinions to yourself. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's just how I choose to live my life. I don't want to engage in arguments anymore. It's getting too old, and I have other shit to do.
Yep. Yeah. And a lot of times with me, when it's face to face, I just nod and smile.
Yeah.
Even if on the inside I'm like, hey, fuck you, buddy. But I'm like,
okay. And we have a lot of those moments in the practice room.
Yeah.
So Shannon's got a humdinger here. I learned a long ago to let shit go. Once you do, you have a peace of mind. I can only do what I can do with what I have. So not going to stress over shit and help others as much as we can.
Absolutely, Shannon.
Yeah, never. And you know, I feel like nowadays, like with everything that's happened over the last year, politics wise, all the crazy stuff, I think we're finally moving back into that window where it used to be pillow talk. And hell, there was a time that it wasn't even pillow talk, because pillow talk means your significant other. And even at one point, even in a household, they want to talk about it because it's like, you know what I mean? But it's so like such a big part of our culture. And, you know, but we're finally moving to a point where politics, I feel like we're getting to the point where it's not gonna be such a fucking dramatic part of, I hope. That's probably just me hoping.
I think, you know, everybody's already so
Like-
divided that we're not talking to each other.
Yeah,
So that reduces it right there.
right there. That's it,
And
right
then,
there.
like, so now you just like kind of just stay on your side of the fence. They stay on theirs. And you just,
Yeah. I mean, what's like, if you say anything or you put your opinion out there, no matter what, you're either going to get praise or you're going to get your shit fucking.
yeah, for
rolled.
sure.
So it's just like, might as well just wash my fucking hands of it.
Exactly. It's not worth the argument.
Yeah. And you're never going to win an argument.
No.
Online, at least. You know what I mean? I mean, if somebody, you can actually talk to somebody and they'll listen. And believe me, I've been in situations where somebody would start talking to me about politics, and I am one of those people that I will actually fucking listen to you and talk to you about it. And I've had people tell me like, man, you're a really cool motherfucker. You actually sat here and listened to me, and you just because, you know, I didn't agree with some of the things, but I didn't belittle the fucking person. I didn't make them feel like they're less of a person. I just talked to them how I felt about it after they talked about it, you know, but people just cannot do that anymore. It's automatic, like shut down. But a lot of that is because of mainstream media and how, and when I say mainstream, I mean like CNN, Fox News, all these things.
Media.
Yeah. And it's all just a lot of it is just, you know, we all know it's all fucking ridiculous.
Well, see, and that's the key thing though, the listening part,
Yes.
right? Like that's where we fail a lot in society. We don't like, you don't have to agree with anything. Sometimes that person is just like venting or saying something because they need to be heard. And most people don't feel like they're heard anymore. So, I mean, like, it's having someone there that just actually listens, like,
And that's true. And the important thing when it comes to listening is listen to understand. Don't listen to reply.
Right.
Because when you listen to reply, you're doing both yourself and the person who's in the conversation with you a disservice, right? Because if I'm sitting there talking to you and you're just like thinking, yep, hurry up and shut the fuck up so that I can start talking some shit, you're missing the whole point of communication, right? Communication is supposed to be this two-way dichotomy, right? So you're throughout this whole podcast, when Manny's talking or when you're talking, I'm shutting up, sure, but I'm listening. I'm looking beyond what your words are saying, because I want to see what context, what is there a deeper meaning of what, you know, we're talking about. We're sitting here and we're waxing nostalgia and we're talking about all these 80s wrestling and 90s and stuff like that, but that tells so much more. It tells that those are happy memories in your life that you feel comfortable to share with us. And so there's all this context that we can grab from that. So I think that listening to understand is an art that a lot of people nowadays, they don't do, because they're so quick to be reactive.
Yeah.
They're so quick to be offended and reactive instead of just understanding and being empathetic and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I get that. I might not agree with it, but I totally understand where you're coming from.
well, I think that's the message where you're getting at with the corporate media is we're bombarded with that style of messaging. Like, you should be outraged. You should be angry. You should defend your position at all times. Like, and it comes from all sides of the political spectrum. And that's where the communication breaks down. It's just like, we're reactive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Social media is by far like one of the most out of control. Yep. Amen.
It's one of the worst things and the best things that have happened.
Yeah.
Technology wise, like probably in any generation, it's created such a the digital community. I mean, and it's replacing a physical community, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But then, you know, the communication that can be had, like everybody has a set of balls when they're behind a keyboard.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say that I think everybody here in this room at one point or another wish they were Jay and Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back at the very end, right?
Oh yeah.
They looked up everyone that ever flamed them, flew across the country, and beat the shit out of them.
Hell yeah. Are you eye for an eye 12476?
Did you say this? Did you say you're the ball lickers? You know?
Like in season 9 of The Office, when the documentary goes live and Andy's sitting there watching all the comments on the YouTube video that's popping up, and he's just sitting there responding like to all the terrible shit. Nobody an Office fan?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I've never watched it.
I have,
No.
and
That's the second time someone's brought that up this week to me, though.
The Office.
That what are you doing with your life if you've never watched The Office before?
Really?
I'll get to it eventually. I just haven't. I haven't watched a single episode of Game of Thrones either.
You're missing out.
Oh,
You're missing out. That was
that's the
intense.
TV, yeah, that's the TV show that showed me that TV shows can bring the heat. And like the White Wedding, or was it the Red Wedding?
Red
Red
Wedding.
Wedding. Yeah, man. That episode alone, that it changed me, because I was like, I didn't think that there was a TV show out there that could draw that emotion out of me the way that I've drawn emotion out of film. And my sister was like, you gotta watch it. And yeah, I watched that episode. I lost it. I fucking paused the TV, and because I immediately was like, no! I was like I was like so mad. I fucking paused the TV and I went down to my fucking garage and I lit a cigarette. I'm like, what the fuck? How could they do this? How could they do this? And I'm sitting there, I'm like calming down, and then I realized, I'm like, this is the best fucking TV show of all time.
Yeah,
because that is what art is. It's supposed to inspire you or cause an emotion, you know. And so this is what I always say to anybody, that whenever you get around to Game of Thrones, like, just bear with the first season. It's lots of blowjobs, lots of reach arounds.
There's a lot of wieners.
Yeah, it's a lot. But once they get past that first season and you start getting the real nitty gritty of the writing, it's good. It's really good.
That was a show that I struggled with the first season, but once I got through it, it was like in 2 weeks I had finished everything. I was just like watching it every free second I had, and it was just like, yeah, okay, this is.
Oh shit, we're running out of time, guys. Oh fuck, man, if you guys haven't seen the Foleys, gotta get out there, check them out. Fucking badass rock and roll band, brings all the fucking energy, fucking stage presence, and you can check out their music at iTunes, Spotify, all the things. Thank you guys so much for making the fucking drive.
Thanks for having us, dude. It was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
You guys fucking roll. We'll have to do it again. Well,
Definitely.
It's a 2-hour drive, so I really appreciate you guys making the drive. Eventually we'll get to the point where we can help with gas and stuff like that. And Frenchie,
we ain't even worried.
We're not worried about that. Maybe you know, if there's another WrestleMania,
hell yeah,
we're coming for the belts.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Frenchie, sucks you couldn't make it tonight, man. Hope everything goes okay. You were missed. You guys, again, thank you so much for making the drive. And it's been a midweek crisis, y'all. Now I gotta click the video. Like, let's not fuck this. I fucked it up the first time. Where is it? There it is. Cheers. You think you're weird? I think you're dumb.